The 2022 AIA Northern Virginia Design Awards are sponsored by the following: Jacobs.
When we start out in this world, the possibilities are as endless as the night sky. Nothing is impossible. Over time, you might question, you might doubt. But at Jacobs, we always see the world as it can be. We're the curious, the brave, the optimistic, and the grounded. We keep planting the seeds of potential. We're bold enough to explore. We make connections that make the difference. We change the trajectory of how we all live, today and into tomorrow.
We seek perspectives, combining the knowledge of those before us with what we know now. And together, we're able to transform the future. We're a global team empowered to question, discover, and try. To us, everything is achievable. We collaborate, designing solutions that make life smarter, more seamless, and more sustainable for everyone.
We anticipate, calculate, and evaluate, and then act with agility and precision. We look for insights and ideas, pushing the limits of what's possible to create the standard for what's to come.
Whether it's applying our discoveries to drive the world ahead,
ensuring the resiliency of our planet and its people,
or acting with agility to design and protect the smart places of tomorrow.
we're united in our drive to dream big. And as the world's thinkers, visionaries, and doers, we're always pushing beyond.
HGA is an interdisciplinary design firm committed to making a positive, lasting impact for our clients and communities through research-based holistic solutions. We believe that great design requires a sense of curiosity, forming deep insights into our clients, their contexts, and the human condition. As a collective of design professionals working together across diverse backgrounds and disciplines, we seek to understand and optimize all aspects of each unique environment: human experience, cultural significance, technical rigor, systems performance, and resiliency. Canon Design.
Courage unites us. Courageous people, ideas, clients, courageous creativity, courage to soar, to shape bold ideas, to reach for brighter futures, to change the world. Canon Design.
KGD.
We are KGD, an award-winning national design firm headquartered in Washington, D.C. We're known for creating resilient, innovative, inspirational, and beautiful places that serve the global community.
Monarch. Rockwool North America. With more than 1,200 employees, Rockwool is North America's largest stone wool producer, offering advanced building insulation, industrial and technical solutions. The Ranson, West Virginia factory is their 5th plant in North America, with others located in Milton, Ontario, Grand Forks, British Columbia, and Byhalia, Mississippi. SM&W. SM&W is an internationally recognized MBE consulting firm specializing in acoustical, AV, IT, security, healthcare technology, and equipment design with a staff of over 230 in offices worldwide. Columbia Green Technologies. Furbish, Nature at Work. HDR. Rockfawn. Scott Long Construction. 2RW, Energy by Design. And now, your Master of Ceremonies for tonight's event, Kevin Sneed, FAIA.
And now, introductory remarks from our 2022 Chapter President, Sonia Jarboe, AIA.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight in the celebration of excellent design. My name is Sonia Jarboe, and I am the 2022 President of the Northern Virginia Chapter of the American Institute of Architects. On behalf of our chapter's Board of Directors, I wish to welcome you to our 2022 Design Awards Gala. We are excited to be here at Capital One Hall tonight and are excited to see everyone here in person. We're here tonight to recognize the excellent work of our peers whose creativity, technical knowledge, and ability to give form to visionary ideas and help create the world around us. Our members continue to demonstrate the transformative power of great design in the communities we all serve. Tonight's program required a great deal of planning and financial support for it to come to fruition. I'd like to start by thanking our sponsors for helping to make tonight possible through their support. Next, I would like to thank the committee members who have committed their time in helping to make our program a success. I would like to thank our wonderful staff, Executive Director Jacqueline Toole, Membership Director Lauren Boswell, and Communications Director Matt Schuba for their hard work throughout the year, which makes this and our other many programs possible. Finally, I'd like to congratulate this evening's winners and wish you an enjoyable night.
Thanks, Sonia. This event could not be realized without the hard work of the Design Awards Committee. Here are Roland Lemke and J. Paul Lewis to elaborate on the behind-the-scenes efforts to make this a reality.
Hello, I'm Roland Lemke, Canon Design, co-chair of the 2022 Design Awards Committee. First, I would like to thank all of the firms who submitted projects for consideration for awards. We received 117 submissions, and the jury recognized 35 of those with awards. The Design Awards Committee has been working since January to provide a terrific experience to all that have participated. Please join me in thanking our committee who have planned and helped to make the 2022 Design Awards a success this year. Jacqueline Toole, Executive Director, AIA Northern Virginia; Lauren Boswell, Membership Director, AIA Northern Virginia; J. Paul Lewis, AIA Dewberry, co-chair of the Design Awards Committee; Sydney Hubricks, Associate AIA, Randall Mars Architects; Miriam Rahman, AIA, KGD Architecture; Admo Ogun, AIA, Architect and PM for the Department of State; Michael Schwartz, AIA, HGA; Karen Conkley, AIA, Conkey Architects; Joe McCoy, AIA, Sanchez Palmer Architects. From this team, subcommittees are formed to address the jury and finance, the AIA Framework for Design Excellence, graphics and production, sponsorship, and publicity. Thank you again, all of you, for your commitment and dedication to the success of the awards again for 2022. I also want to take a moment to discuss the chapter's continuing emphasis and support for sustainability and environmental design. The AIA Framework for Design Excellence represents the defining principles of worthy design in the 21st century. Comprised of 10 principles, the framework seeks to inform progress toward a zero-carbon, resilient, and healthy built environment. The framework is intended to be accessible and relevant for every architect, every client, and every project regardless of size, typology, or aspiration. J. Paul will now walk you through the jury process.
Thanks, Roland. The jury sessions were held on July 8th at the Center for Architecture in Philadelphia to review 117 entries, ultimately selecting 35 award-winning projects. We are honored to have had 2 exceptional juries this year. When weighing potential jurors, we consider architects who have varied influences and points of view to reflect the diversity of talent represented by our own membership. The morning jury reviewed projects in the single-family residential, historic, and conceptual unbuilt categories. The afternoon jury reviewed projects in the commercial, institutional, commercial interiors, and transportation infrastructure categories. The jurors were not only well-versed in design excellence across project types, but also were familiar with the AIA Framework for Design Excellence and its influence on each project. As you will see, they selected specific projects to highlight sustainable design. I want to convey to you that the jury really admired all of your projects. We really appreciate their thoughtful deliberations. I hope you'll agree as we hear their comments on the award winners.
Thanks, J. Paul. You will hear more from the jury members throughout the awards presentation. Each winning project is presented in its respective category, in order of Jurors Citation, Award of Merit, and the highest award, the Award of Excellence. In addition to the traditional award tiers, the jury also highlighted projects with a Juror Citation for responsible design that you will see throughout the evening. Our first category is Conceptual Unbuilt Architecture. There are 2 awards in this category.
The jury really appreciated that the submission was not just a series of flashy renderings. Although there were some beautiful images included, there was also some really thorough and thoughtful diagrams that were integrated. There was a lot of consideration for the building structure specifically, thinking about how it's taking on different structural forces. There were diagrams talking about programmatic use over time, and there was even some interesting stuff about vertical circulation and how you're going through this building. So we really appreciated the depth of the submission and the consideration across the board. The jury was so excited about this project for so many reasons. Something that really jumped out at me was in this unbuilt category, you usually see these fancy new constructions, and I think one of the greatest things about this project is that it was talking about a very thoughtful and surgical renovation of what were mostly pretty utilitarian buildings. So seeing the potential in adaptive reuse in the existing building stock was really extraordinary. And looking through the submission, it's pretty evident that somebody has spent a lot of time considering and getting to know these buildings and thinking about a very thoughtful reuse of it. And in some ways, I just really want this project to be built so that I could see, I can imagine it being even more stunning in person than these beautiful renderings and hand sketches really depict.
We were very impressed with this project for the thoroughness of the research and investigation. It was very clear through all of the diagrams, sketches, model making, and we were very excited about the integration of all the systems, both historic, new, landscape. It was very well integrated, and we're very excited about this project.
So personally, I'm working on a project similar to this, taking an old industrial building and turning it into a new use completely. And I know personally how difficult this kind of project is. The entire jury was excited about the project because not only of the complexity of the project, the thoroughness of it, but actually the high level of design that has emerged through these investigations.
As we are racing towards 2030, the jury felt that it was extremely important to recognize this project for its adaptive reuse. One of the things that's so wonderful about it is not only is this a wonderful project from an embodied carbon perspective, but it is capturing the character and culture of a place at the same time. As we think about our work in the built environment, we should recognize that adaptive reuse is not just a smart thing to do ecologically, but it has so many stacked benefits for our community and the places that we make.
The jury has awarded citation for this wonderful project for a couple different reasons. I thought it was really striking that there was a historical and cultural narrative here that this takes place in an area of Charlottesville that was formerly redlined, and now it has been redeveloped, and majority of the tenants in these spaces are women and minority-owned businesses. So it was a really intriguing historical context there. Another thing that I found very important was the metrics that were provided by the designers. They talked about the tons of salvaged building materials and the percentages of reduction in energy use. So there was a lot of really, really valuable sustainable qualities as well.
Several of the jury actually have lived in Southwest Virginia, and this particular project kind of stuck with us as being emblematic of main streets in rural Virginia. We all appreciated the efforts that were made to address the urban condition and inject liveliness and a sense of community in an area which was previously neglected.
So this is a spectacular restoration project. It's important in so many ways, having been one of the only public venues in Washington, D.C. for years. It is also the stage on which Marian Anderson was denied access, where this Philadelphia jury appreciates our hometown, homegrown talent, but it brings the space into specific historic relief. We were very, very impressed by the technical complexity of this project. Restoring a theater is always hard, making it ADA accessible, more energy efficient, and achieving this beautiful result all does make this project deserving of an award of excellence.
One of the things about this project that stuck with the jury is that we all recognize that one of the greatest challenges of architecture is keeping an eye on the detail within a overall sizable project. We all had the feeling of, wow, this would have been quite a challenge to work on this project. And so it's important in recognition of it that we extend the congratulations to the entire project team on both the architecture side and on the build side for the extreme craftsmanship that was employed.
Outside of all the really great technical aspects of this project, I really appreciated how the submissions showed us a couple different aspects. It highlighted how difficult and how important it was to make dressing rooms accessible. And there was even this really great slide talking about the safety precautions of the lighting layout and the ceiling above. And I thought it gave great sensitivity to the folks who are actually operating these spaces and making sure that their safety and their well-being is just as important as the performers or the viewers.
We were all very impressed with the restoration on this project. It was clearly lovingly done, and especially this kind of seamless integration of all of the technology, all of the other important aspects of the project that needed to get integrated behind the scenes.
The jury was unanimously excited about Frederick Douglass Hall. We were really just blown away by the level of attention and detail given to this really important building on Howard University's campus. Things that really stuck out to me specifically was that this was not just some important artifact on the middle of campus, but they were really inviting students into the space and were providing a safe haven for learning and experimentation. Another thing that stood out to me too was something as simple as just making the spaces accessible and sort of wearing that on your sleeve. You have this great accessible ramp on the front, sort of giving value signals to what's important to this campus.
I think what was inspiring for us, besides the very careful restoration of the exterior, was the new life that was brought into the interior, bringing these student spaces into the 21st century with a great use of materials, spaces, lighting, really making a space that students are going to love to use.
The jury was also very touched by the historic significance of the person that the building is named after. He clearly holds an incredibly important role in the discourse around civil rights, and I think that it's fitting that we should be premiating a project that highlights his role in our history.
Every building project is an investment in carbon. As architects, one of our many responsibilities is to use carbon wisely. Here with this historic building, the architects have maintained as much of that existing carbon that has been used as possible, and at the same time position this building to live on for many generations.
So this is a Jurors Citation for home operations, and I think the jury thought there was a few different really great qualities about this, specifically its inventive use of adaptive reuse. We really appreciated that there was a lot of whimsy in this project. It's really subtle and kooky ways of reimagining existing architecture without tearing it down and rebuilding from the ground. And we also really appreciated the clear ideas that were presented to the jury.
I think the jury appreciated the dynamic between the two buildings, the interplay between the two, the stacked volumes, the clear approach to materiality and glass and daylight, and the integration of the green roofs really felt integral into the project.
So the jurors selected this one specifically because of the construction techniques and the construction methods employed. It was a really interesting dynamic between things being prefabricated off-site, and then we have these really handcrafted elements on-site as well, and some really utilitarian electrical and HVAC runs. So I thought there was a really interesting narrative here with the construction.
The jury greatly appreciated the juxtaposition between the restoration of a very fine historic facade and a completely new rear facade, which you see on the slide here. The idea of bringing life to an historic building of this character while making it a completely modern interior was very much appreciated. The plan is not super large, and so we also appreciated the sustainability aspect of that. The framing of the views, the great rear gardens that were achieved, I think are all worthy of merit. The entire jury was intrigued by the amount of creativity and ideas that were embodied in this project. The idea of coming in through a berm and then being, presented with this incredible view of the outdoors is a great contrast. The site obviously is lovely, and the budget seemed like it was extensive, but the beauty that was created through this project is extraordinary.
Camp May is a project which resonated with all of the jurors for its sense of belonging on its site. It really has it feels like it should be here, echoing the forest with its use of wood timbers for its structure, and also its light touch on the earth, which extends to its low embodied carbon footprint for the use of natural materials.
You ready? Mm-hmm. Camp May plays big, but is actually small. It offers incredible views into a place that's much loved by the clients. The forms reflect the importance of the spaces, so the bedrooms are more modest, the public spaces are larger. We love the fact that the clients themselves hammered down the flooring. The use of simple IKEA furniture and millwork really speaks to this being a modest place, but one that affords a great luxury.
We were captivated by the story of the clients and how they've arrived at this site. We were really impressed with how they really felt like they knew this site to create something that felt really in place and getting really a lot of mileage out of something that feels very simple.
The jury was very captivated by the use of very modest materials and modest forms, but the impact that you get. In these categories, you see a lot of projects with larger budgets, and you can imagine this one didn't really have that, but it doesn't matter. It still hits you with that wow factor from the start. And something I'm really excited about is maybe seeing images of this project 20, 30 years from now, because I feel the test of time is only going to make this more beautiful and lend a greater assurance that the architect and the family has made the right decisions in choosing the materials and the sightings that they've done.
In the new North Concourse, we were particularly impressed by the systems integration and also the integration of design for everybody. They thought not only about the seating, which incorporates lots of comfortable seating for lots of different body types, but also about the needs of the particular users of the space.
What intrigued us about this building is normally this sort of building type becomes a very utilitarian building, and what the design team of this really managed to raise the ante and play on that whole idea of the water theme and really create a different type of architecture for this building type than we normally see.
For this project, we really love the way the project utilized air and sun to create a warm oasis in the frozen desert of the Wisconsin winter for the maintenance of heavy machinery.
What was really fascinating about this project was the combination of the idea of a whole new aspect of river transportation in DC, not only for people who live there, but create a whole new tourist experience. But it wasn't only about that part, the journey was part of it, but also the idea in the master plan about placemaking, and each landing point was a destination, and what did that mean for the arrival point and your experience going on from there. It was a pretty special project, and we really look forward to seeing it being implemented.
With this project, I loved the way that the design team engaged in the idea of a new form of transportation for the larger DC metro area that would reduce the environmental impact associated with the huge amount of traffic of people moving from one place to another.
This was one of the projects that I was happy to spend a lot of time looking at. When I first opened the file, I had some concerns about using the river as a highway. And I found that the report was put together so well and so convincingly that I soon began to understand that that's not what was being proposed at all. I also really liked the very well imagined marinas and ferry terminals and nodes of interconnection that were part of this report, and the fact that it celebrated the idea of connecting all forms of transportation in a really integrated way.
One aspect of this facade that was really intriguing is the whole idea of how do you deal with a playground and a ball and the windows hitting there, And so this playfulness and almost the syncopation of the terracotta was fascinating, addressing one problem, but creating a totally new experience for kids inside in what it means to look out a window and what that means. You know, looking out of this window in this space is going to create a very dynamic experience for a kid.
We especially appreciated the way that this project interpreted the needs of each user group to create a special space for each user type, including visitors in the healthcare space. Not only did visitors have welcome, open, common areas, but they even had unique spaces within the patient room.
The atrium in this space was really a very special room that you go throughout the whole building, and actually brought together a lot of programs beautifully. And actually how you integrate the memorial within this space, we really liked how that was done. And the subtlety and the fact that you were going to have to explore this memorial multiple times throughout the 4 years that you were a student there, and really increase the impact and meaning out of this memorial was very important.
This project reinterpreted a lot of the constraints that we typically see with federal security and made them into opportunities instead by creating an amazing landscape that provided a security buffer, and also creating an engagement in the interior with natural light and views to the exterior for the workers inside, while still maintaining a really high level of security.
We really loved how this project was contextual without mimicry. Using memes of heartbeats and body pulsing to express the exterior architecture of the biology department. Subtle references also to historic college architecture, but certainly not mimicking it. And we just, in the end, thought it was a beautiful expression.
One of the things I especially appreciated about this project was the inclusion of the solar analysis that was actually a driver of the elegant design. It's an amazing example of how well-informed architecture can express performance.
One aspect of this project that we particularly appreciated was the interior atrium space that we felt that was extremely inspiring for kids, both in the material use and in the beautiful detailing of the ceiling and lighting. It really, as a student, they've probably never seen and experienced spaces like this, so this was really going to be aspirational for these young kids in the future, and a very exciting space.
One of the things we loved about this project was the exquisite, simple, modern detailing. In some ways, it's almost a textbook of all the things that we love about the modern ideals. Beautifully executed.
This is one of those special projects when really the simplicity of the form is actually more complex. And being an aquatic center, it was really pretty interesting. The folds really sort of tie into the idea of doing the freestyle stroke. And it beautifully combines a number of different functions underneath in what typically in a swimming pool ends up being a square box. So this really reinterpreted it beautifully.
One of the really impressive aspects of this project was that they interpreted not only the two primary facades as the ones where they had entrances for those arriving by car and those they had arriving by foot, but also a third that is for those who are passing above in airplanes taking off from the local airport.
It's hard to know where to start with this project because it is the complete package. We really enjoyed the folded plates of the shape of the building, but particularly how they enfold you or the swimmer into the pools. And once you're inside of the building, the interior of the building also met the expectations that were expected from the excellence of the exterior, the stair and the different pools and about how they're related to each other. And now I'm not being particularly articulate about it because I think that this building is kind of beyond words. X marks the spot for this exquisite project.
This project exemplifies everything that we would look for in elementary school. It has the performance, it has the amazing integration of brilliant artwork, it even has a tree house in its library.
You know, every now and then you come across a project that just knocks it right out of the park, and this is one of those projects. Not only is it a net positive environmentally building, but also just, you know, when you think about kids' education, the whole idea of where the library is going, the library in general is becoming like the community center. This is the community heart of this whole school, and as mentioned here, the idea of putting a tree house and then the ceiling baffles being green just is so inspiring for a kid. And it just refocuses what education should be about as opposed to just test scores that we see today. What a phenomenal place, and we really commend this project. Great work.
We particularly liked the lovely blue and natural wood workstations and how the work areas tied into the surrounding landscape.
What we really appreciate in this space here, which is really a very small confined space, was the use of the vertical slats and the lighting to really create a uniform space, even though it's around the curves, that is interesting, and one space flowed into another space. And even there was an element when there was some closets, and the sliding closets were beautifully detailed with that same element.
For this project, we wanted to commend the design team for their focus on occupant health and well-being through the selection of the material palette and the incorporation of the living... Let me try that again. With this project, we wanted to commend the design team for their focus on occupant health through their careful curation of the material palette and also the selection of the living material that they incorporated.
We particularly like the organic biophilic mass. It's so intriguing and it's exquisitely executed, pulling us through the project. We also like the great wide wood stair that spills into the workout area. And what can I say? Who doesn't love velvet curtains?
With this project, we were particularly inspired by the dedication of the design team to the expression of wellness. This is a program that is about wellness, and so is the design. It looks as engaging from an active fitness perspective as it does from the topic of understanding what's going on inside of our bodies.
This project, we really did dig the muscular aspect of the entire project, and particularly the way the stair kind of moves through the main space. And we also really liked the wall of bikes. I mean, fantastic.
A wonderful part of this building was actually the connection to the interior to the exterior, be it in the amount of natural daylight that came in, the beautiful stair, which actually felt that you were climbing and good for your body in that metaphor. But equally, the whole idea that bicycles could come in and out. So there was this sort of seamless beauty and the quality of the lightness and airiness. It just wanted you to open up and take the breath of air in and really exhale slowly. It really spoke about health and wellness.
Midtown Row did an amazing job of taking on a really challenging problem that we have right now and reinterpreting what we could do with existing dead retail space, trying to create it into a more lively and mixed-use community.
So we wanted to commend Fortitude for its significantly raising the bar on the whole aspect of design for elderly and low-income housing, and I think it has a real nice balance between the privacy and the sense of community in the spaces inside.
Not only did Park and Forward save significant embodied environmental impacts through the retention of the existing brutalist concrete, it also created some amazing outdoor spaces and engagement with the community, providing some phenomenal transitions to what was previously a fairly dead space.
Go ahead.
We loved this hotel project. With its beautifully articulated overlap effect facade, the crisp, accurate detailing, and deliciously compact plan, this project is the essence of comfortable elegance.
Good. We loved the way that this project created a flowing open space that invites the public in, creates an established, beautiful area on the exterior in the public realm on the sidewalk, and then also up on the rooftop.
So one particular thing we liked about this building is it felt like a real jewel box. Every little element was exquisitely detailed that really showed and just took the project to another level.
3, 2, 1. Thanks for joining us in our celebration of design excellence. Be sure to visit our YouTube channel for additional content related to our Design Awards program.